Oh God, is it interpretive dance?
It's 60s dance.
Oh my God. What year was this?
64? 64.
Yeah. Oh my God.
In a world
where tomorrow's blockbusters reign and yesterday's classics are forgotten, 3 women intend to remember.
Hey everyone, welcome to Millennials at the Movie House, the podcast where 3 friends watch older movies and review them from our modern, everyday perspectives. I'm Betsy.
I'm Tracy.
And I'm Serena.
And today we watched Viva Las Vegas. It was...
Viva Las Vegas!
Vegas!
Wow. 1964, written by Sally Benson, directed by George Sidney, starring Elvis Presley, Anne Margaret, and Cesare Danova.
Okay,
to be clear,
before we even do any, I've got some comments on just that.
Okay.
First off, her name is Anne Margaret. It's just her first name. She's like Madonna.
Yeah.
Anne
yes.
Margaret.
Yes.
Okay, just getting that out of the way. And Serena, does Sally Benson ring a bell to you?
it does, and I was trying to place it.
She is the screenwriter, or she wrote the book, Meet Me in St. Louis.
Oh!
Yeah,
Oh,
and it's like
Semi-autobiographical?
Yes. There you
Damn,
go.
Betsy! Would you have some coffee before this?
Yeah, those are my first
Yes.
off thoughts.
I feel like we don't get a lot of repeat writers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a woman.
Mm.
Yeah, I
And
noticed
she
when
wrote
you
a
said
couple
that.
of screenplays, and this was one of them.
Awesome. Yeah, cool. Love it. All right. Quick synopsis, Tracy, go.
What is this movie about?
I mean, who knows?
It's about a lot. There's a lot going on.
But really not a lot going on at the same
Right.
time.
So
It's like a combo.
there's this down on his luck race car driver named Lucky who needs a new engine for his car to enter a race. And for some reason, he's staying at a hotel. Oh, is it near the race?
He was just driving through Vegas, I think,
Oh, okay.
and stopped for a minute. Oh, that's where the race was.
That's where the race was.
But he was
Okay.
going to go through to Los Angeles to get the engine.
Okay. And at the hotel, he and like his rival, they're like frenemies. Like they're friends, but they compete against each other. They meet, a beautiful girl, and he tries to woo her. They both kind of try to woo her. I don't.
Yeah.
And it's kind of their relationship and how they fall in love. And oh yeah, there's a car race.
Yeah, seriously. Oh yeah, that's right. We had to do a car race right at the tail end.
So yeah, that's it.
Good. Good job. That is literally it. That is the whole plot.
I thought it was funny when you said this, because I was like, oh, another car movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because of course we were like, oh yeah, we were comparing it as usual to used cars, death race.
Yeah.
Oh, and then of course there's a lot of singing and dancing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's a musical.
And Margaret. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Musical and comedy.
I did a little bit of research because I feel like I should have known more about like Elvis and Vegas than I did. And this is by far I think they said one of his best films.
Yep.
And it is obviously it's mostly known for the song Viva Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Like
that's how I knew of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's really the thing that's survived is even if you haven't seen this movie because it was written for this movie.
Yeah. I picked this movie because I wanted to do an Elvis, because I don't think I've ever seen an Elvis movie all the way through. I've seen bits and pieces here and there. And I was like, all right, let me Google it and see what is objectively his best movie. And this it didn't often top the lists, but it was always on the lists as like 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
I think objectively speaking, his best role was actually a Western, which I was like, no, we want to do a very Elvis-y movie, and this is a very Elvis-y movie. So.
And like they said like his chemistry was good with Anne Margaret.
Yeah, that was one of my comments.
Yeah, and she was able to hold her own really well.
Yeah. And I just have to say, I give props to Elvis. I had never seen an Elvis movie either. And when you see someone, you know, multi-talented, I always have my doubts. Like, the only
can
reason
they really
he's in
act?
this, exactly.
Yeah.
And he can. I think he can.
He can, yeah. Yeah. And I mean, if you can tell that in something like this, which is very fluffy. And then, you know, if you see some of his serious roles, I think it really comes out.
I would be very curious. I would very much like to see that.
Yeah. It's same with I compared him actually to Marilyn Monroe because I think she's...
Oh my God, that's what I was just thinking.
She's very famous for her fluffy roles, but she was a very good actress and did some very dramatic roles that were objectively her best, but they're not her most famous, you know.
I would be curious to see, I really don't know much about Elvis, to see if Elvis, like Marilyn Monroe, was like a personality.
Yeah, like a
you know what I mean?
people
like,
person.
Yeah. Because I think his real name was Elvis, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So I don't think it was, you know, like that, but I wonder if there was an
element of persona.
Yeah.
I got you.
I actually compared him to Justin Timberlake.
Wow.
I had a weird thought of Johnny Cash for some reason.
It's that era. Definitely that era.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How did everyone like it?
I liked it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
It was fun. It's fun. Yeah.
That's just it. There was nothing more to glean from it, but it was fun.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it was both fun to enjoy and a little bit to laugh at because it's so 60s. We were like, you know, it like we always say the phrasing, but it was a moment in time. So you're watching. It's just that's the 60s.
I think how many times did I say, "What is that? What are they doing?"
Yeah.
And the answer was always, "It's the 60s."
Yeah.
And then you were like, "Yeah, yep, okay."
Yeah, the dancing styles.
Oh.
Right. So what was it I said? Ask somebody in 50 years to, you know, watch a video of somebody flossing and it's going to be the exact same reaction. Oh my God, what the hell are they doing?
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, I definitely brought up TikTok and I was like, okay, well, because a lot of my question was, because it's a musical, one of like the dance scenes, they all were doing a dance. And I was like, is this them being in a musical and they all know how to dance, or do they know how to do this dance? Because it immediately reminded me of, and we'll get to it, but Hairspray, where like you did dances like that. People knew how to do a specific dance.
Right. And like, yeah, because I mean, and there were even some moments where we recognized a dance move, like the shaking the tail feather. Like they did it a few times.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'll talk about that more, but definitely.
I know. I was going to say, guys, you're saying my notes.
I know. I'm so sorry. We're getting ahead of ourselves.
We are getting ahead of ourselves.
Let's bring it all back. Top of the marquee. What was everyone's favorite part? Serena, you go first.
All right. I'm going to go with the opening scene. To start. When Elvis steps on the scene. Now, this is my first ever Elvis movie, so I always got this vibe that Elvis was super cheesy and like.
Do you know Vegas Elvis, not movie star Elvis? And when I say Vegas star Elvis, I'm talking about when he was like overweight and on drugs and in the white glitzy glam.
Yes, that's immediately what I think of, is that white glitzy. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, maybe. This is my first ever movie, and the opening scene, he just walks in and he's like, he knew he was hot, and with that air of confidence, you know?
Yep.
And yeah, so I was like pleasantly surprised. I was like, oh, all right, I'll pay attention. All right. That was definitely like that first scene. I liked it. The whole opening scene, the music, the spanning over the whole strip there, the Vegas Strip, like it really gave you like a feel of what you were getting into.
Yeah, and it's very iconic. What you were about like when you think of Vegas, you think of that strip
this Vegas
at night with the lights. Yeah.
I liked it a lot, and then I later looked up, I forgot to check my cheat, so I later looked up the year, and I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense, 64, right, of course. But anyway, so I like that. I feel like Tracy might be saying this, so I don't want to like steal all of them, but the chemistry was just flawless.
It really was.
It was really, yeah. I mean, there was a couple different scenes I liked. I mean, I thought it was really cute that she was a swim instructor for the kids, and she was like helping them dive off, and these like tiny little children were like diving off the board, and I was like, oh.
Yes. I'm going to expand on that because I enjoyed that a lot. Because they were originally looking for, because they met her and then they, didn't know her name, didn't know where she worked. So they were always looking at the showgirls at all of the casinos or whatever had a different show, and they were looking for her. And I was like, oh, okay, she's going to be the beautiful bombshell or whatever. Not that she isn't, but like we eventually do find her, and she's a working girl. She is a swim instructor. She helps little kids, and she's wholesome. And that was a relief to me. I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah, you don't expect in a movie like Viva Las Vegas, not knowing going into it what you were going to get. You absolutely expected both of them to be very, like glamorous people or having glamorous careers.
Yeah. So I agree, Serena. Good job.
Well, it was like pleasant surprise, and I was like, whoa, what is happening right now? The sun comes up in Vegas, there's a pool and swim lessons and children. What is happening? I wasn't expecting this.
I like that. I'm gonna write your own quote down.
The sun comes up in Vegas?
I love it. There's
It's
daylight.
It's true. Good favorite parts, Serena. Tracy.
My favorite part is the lady loves me. And she loves me.
Oh my God!
But she doesn't know it yet.
Yes. Wait, was that the duet? Is that the duet?
Yes.
Okay,
it's the duet when he's
at the pool.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this was him finding her again, and then he like grabs his frenemy's like guitar and is like, hey, and kind of starts to woo her. And she just is like, no. So it's this duet.
She's no, but it's still a flirty no.
It is a flirty no. And the reason she slams a door in his face, and she like smiles and giggles and like, is like, oh, okay. So it is a hard to get, but the whole, it sets her character up that she can hold her own. Mm-hmm. And I just love the music. It's just fun. They both get to sing, and the rhyming scheme of it was just so cute and clever. And I don't know, through this whole movie, there were some like double entendres there. I don't know if everybody picked them up, but I was like, oh, look at you go 60s making this. Anyway.
Wait, did you look at the lyrics of that song, Trey?
Yes.
I did, and I wrote them down. I was like, oh my God, what? I was like, excuse me.
I was like, whoa, there's children in the pool right now.
I know, right? I was dying. That scene was definitely one of my top. I agree with you.
So anyway, I just love that. I think it showed the best of both of them singing. I think it showed the best of their beginning chemistry, and it was just a fun number. It just was.
Yeah.
So
I really liked it too. I completely agree.
That's a great favorite part. Good job.
So bets.
So this is going to be an unpopular opinion. But my favorite part was actually Anne Margaret's facial expressions.
Oh God!
Oh my God! Oh my God! I love that. I was making videos of it. I was like, is this a joke?
That's just
like a showgirl.
I have never, no actress has ever committed the way she committed to those facial expressions.
And they were it was a bad commitment. I wish I could erase them. Her head was just like on its own. No.
Tracy.
No.
The number that she did, the dance scene. This is a whole vibe right now. This is a whole mood.
That's exactly it. I appreciated the commitment. And so
it was 100% of a mood.
Right. And when we were initially watching it, I was like, we were both like, oh my God, what is with the facial expressions? But then I went back and I did a rewatch on a scene for another reason. And I was like, you know what? Now I'm like, yeah, her facial expressions. Like, it's just, I think it's not the first time around. It's the second time around that I'm like, yeah, okay, the facial expression.
All I can say about it is 60s. Like
it
was
60s.
because
Exactly.
it was the basically when she was dancing, I feel like.
I think you were supposed
she was
to have
full
those
on into
expressions during dancing. Like
because it was almost interpretive dance. Like, and that's
Listen, it was a whole mood.
You're right.
It was.
And you're right. She threw herself 120% into it.
I also had
that's your favorite part, though. Oh my god!
Well, so what I wrote down for favorite part was it was just so 60s.
Oh yeah,
like just the fact, like everything about it. And then I said, but really, and Margaret's facial expressions. So yeah. All right, guys. Wheel of questions.
Wheel of
questions.
So we landed today on 2 truths and a lie. So I am going to be reading
1 lie.
I'm going to be reading 3 facts, and we're going to see which ones, if you can identify if one of them's a lie.
I'm ready.
I will say I'm not going to be surprised if you guys catch the lie immediately. It's totally fine.
I don't know. You did a great job before. Remember when we thought you were really bad at it, but we found out that you were really good at it?
I worked way harder on that one than I did on this one.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay, number 1. Tony Basil of Oh Mickey, You're So Fine fame, had a bit role in the movie. That's number 1. Number 2, this movie is reportedly one of Steven Spielberg's favorite movies. And number 3, Anne Margaret was actually 6 years older than Elvis.
Oh, I didn't check my facts. I feel
all
like
of
the
those
second
things.
one's a lie.
I really want the first one to be true, but I feel like it's too good to be true because that would be an amazing connection that Bring It On is actually connected to this Elvis movie. So, and the second one was the Spielbergs. I feel like Spielberg would like Elvis. And what was the last one?
Anne Margaret was actually 6 years older than Elvis.
I'll believe that one because
really
he had
hiding.
a baby face. What are your thoughts, Serena?
So I'm between 1 and 2. When she first said 1, I was like, eh. And then she said 2, and I was like, So I'm between those. It's or
I'm going to say 1 is a lie, but I really do want it to be true. So either way, I'll be happy because either I'm right or it's right.
All right, what about Serena?
I'm leaning towards 2.
Okay, so Tracy says 1 is a lie. Serena, you say 2 is a lie? Okay, number 3 is the lie.
Oh, come on!
So, okay. So Anne Margaret was
good.
actually...
That means both of us are right, which is amazing.
Yeah. So Anne Margaret was actually 6 years younger than Elvis.
Oh, okay.
There was an interview with Terry Garr somewhere that said that this is one of Spielberg's favorite movies, and the reason it came up was because Terry Garr also had a very minor bit role in it. And Tony Basil. So it was the scene where it was the coordinated dance that you were like, oh, I don't know if they, and then he jumped up on the stage and he was singing to Anne Margaret.
Yep.
When they zoom out,
the red dress girl.
No way!
Yeah. The red dress girl.
Yes,
I love that. That is so fun.
Yep. Red dress girl is Tony Basil. But good
job, Beth.
All right, wait a minute. How has this movie influenced or influenced by other movies?
Okay.
So I feel like this is an unfair question.
Yeah.
Because I know like all the movies I was thinking of are just set in Vegas. So I think it's just like the essence of Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that more than anything else, it didn't influence any particular movies. It influenced our perception of Las Vegas. Even to this day, I mean, I feel like it's the song is the theme song of Las Vegas.
Yes.
Yeah.
I read
agree.
somewhere that like it is played every like 4.5 seconds. I'm making that setup, but it is like they play it all the time to the point where it's one of the most famous ones that the Bellagio fountain goes to.
Oh, that makes sense.
I think the same. I have the same reason. Like it's just the 60s in general. Right. So I got heavy influences or not heavy influences.
It just reminded you.
It reminds you of Hairspray.
Yeah.
So like 60s musicals. So Hairspray, Grease.
Yeah.
I got a little bit of Singing in the Rain with some of the dances and costumes, really. It was more of the aesthetic of those. When we went to each of the different casinos or the shows, they all had different costumes on. At one point, I actually had to look it up in it because I thought the character of Anne Margaret, specifically in one of her identical to Daphne from Scooby-Doo. And actually,
oh my God.
it wasn't based on that because Daphne is based on another character, but Scooby-Doo started in 1969. So, and this was 64. So I think like it was just more of the fashion. It's the, but I thought of Austin Powers because this was such like you said, it was fun to not make fun of it, but it was very fluffy. It was, and talk about, making fun of something. Austin Powers took all of the 60s things and amped them up to like the,
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. Cause I am sure this was used as a reference point for Austin Powers. Absolutely. Yeah. All right, ladies, please remove your hats and silence your cell phones. How does this film hold up? I mean, I'm going to give the excuse of it was a moment in time. It was so quintessential 60s. It's hard to answer this question. It almost doesn't apply.
Yeah. Yep. I'm going to say something about like the female character, but she kind of held her own. It was supposed to be a love triangle, but there was never any point where she was really going to end up with the Count.
Right.
And I didn't even get the feeling that sometimes when you have two characters, like in Valley Girl, well, it's like those are the only two choices and you have to make one because you can't possibly choose either a third option or not choosing anybody. Right. I never felt that. It was just,
Yeah, it was always like Elvis and Anne Margaret were in love and she was using the Count just to get back at him.
Right.
Oh my gosh, that whole scene was hilarious too.
And it was, you know what? It was a rare moment when you were seeing Elvis doing comedy, and that I think is really rare.
I have the comedy that you're speaking of, Betsy, is on my Instagram story currently. It's when he was listening in the door, and then they open the door on him.
It's the whole scene when he takes
the whole scene.
Potato chips and he he's
but
all in their business.
Yeah.
I literally was laughing out loud, very loudly, to that last part where he just I was just, and then he just walks away, and I was like dying laughing. I'm like, I can't with this guy. He's too much. I put down, and maybe this is because, fashion comes full circle and we get each decade comes back. I have in here specifically yellow swimsuit. Yes. Interested in that.
I love yellow swimsuit. The tie thing.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. And then I just wrote, I secretly love this fashion. It's 60s, but it's almost like borderline 70s, but it's before things get cheesy. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. It's like it's. I don't know how to describe it. There's a word I'm looking for, and it's not like Belle of the Ball. It's like
it's almost chic. Girl Next Door. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like chic, but like hold the hoe. You know what I mean?
Chic, hold the hoe. Chic, hold the hoe. Okay, I got you.
So I also
That's another Serena I have to write down.
Whereas 70s is, it's not really like 70s necessarily. I mean, 70s going into 80s is like heavy on the hoe,
Yeah.
I did put music and dancing. Normally, music and dancing, musicals in general, I'm over them. Usually, I'm like, whatever. I felt like the music held up. I felt like the dancing held up. I mean, that dance where she does that number, I was like, dude, I was just doing that in my kitchen. But I mean, it's like the type of dancing influenced, some of the modern day dances as well. Yeah. So I feel like that held up. I feel like the love story itself kind of held up. It was, she wasn't just, swoon, we're in love.
Oh my God. It was,
yeah.
What was going on with that ending?
Oh yeah. Can someone explain to me that last 1 second where the race was ending and then all of a sudden they were at the altar?
Right. Yeah. Well, it was funny because he crossed the finish line and he won. And I go, wow, that was kind of anticlimactic. And then we got the wedding and then we were done. Like it was.
Yeah. It's like they ran out of money. Yeah. It's like they ran out of money and they had to do it in like one take.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, but before all that, but this is pre-race. Like the love story, maybe it was just the chemistry in general, but I felt like the whole story kind of held up, and it was light. It wasn't too heavy. It wasn't like a super confusing plot. So like I felt like, I don't know. You know where I stand.
I feel like if we're gonna analyze the plot for a second, I feel like her character was inconsistent, if anything. Because there was so much back and forth of he loves, like, you know, do I love him, blah, blah, blah. And then she went from this kind of like holding her own character to the scene where they're in the garage and she's...
Yeah, the garage scene was kind of off.
Yeah.
That really threw me.
Yeah.
The garage scene was like, she caught feelings and she went stage 5 clinger, but then she was mad at herself, right? So she's literally like yelled at herself in the garage, and I also wanted to yell at her. I was like, just why? Why are you bringing a basket of sandwiches? F the sandwiches. Leave the sandwiches and go and whatever, say your bit. Yeah, like, I don't know how to fix that, but...
a lot of questions about that because I didn't quite understand the father either. Why did he like Lucky? Why did he care about the cars? Why was he there? And she was so dead set against racing because she thought it was so dangerous to, I'm going to hop in this helicopter and cheer for you along the way. So I'm like,
oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that part too.
I feel like we missed her revelation of either, if I love him, I'm going to have to learn to love this, or an explanation or something. Like, I think I threw out there, and this is kind of getting into Boom, I Fixed It, where like the reason she doesn't like car racing is because like her mom died in a car crash or something like that. But then that doesn't explain why the dad was like all about it.
Where was her mom? Did that really happen, or were you just saying that?
No, I just guessed that.
That would have been perfect.
Yeah, we never got explanation. But I think that the father was interested. So the father covered the engine.
Yes.
And I think it was his way of condoning their match. Like, he wanted her, like, he thought that Elvis was good for her.
Like marrying her off via engine.
And wanted to give him, so I think the whole premise is based on the fact that if he wins the race, he's got it made in the shade. Like, he's going to be a famous race car driver and he's going to have success, right?
Because that's what I also had issues with. Because I'm like, so what? He won. Does that mean he gets money? Like, they never discussed prize money, did they? Or like,
no,
if he wins this, he'll be able to be a race car driver now. Or
right. I think that was, I think that's the only explanation I can think of that kind of answers all the questions, where was he's taking a gamble, but if he wins this, they will have stability, he'll be famous, he'll get everything he wants. And so she wanted to cut ties beforehand because she didn't trust that he was going to win. And the father decided to take the chance and give him the money for the engine. Does that make, like, I guess. I mean,
I guess. Yeah. Sure.
I'm just trying to explain it.
Yeah.
Maybe they just were leaving it open to interpretation for us to figure it out. Tracy, I know we're not at Boom yet, but like, you did fix it with the whole mom died in a car crash thing. That 100% would absolutely give us at least some kind of understanding.
Right. I don't know.
But we like everything with like a big bow on it and wrapped up and have us understand. Like, that's for me at least.
It doesn't need to be a bow. It just needs to be motivation. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I do feel like I gave it like a ton of allowance because that wasn't the point. The plot, weirdly enough, the plot was not the point of this movie. So I kind of like let it go.
Yeah.
But let's jump into Boom, We Fixed It.
Yeah.
Because I did put NA because the plot wasn't the point. I didn't try to fix the plot, but you're right. The plot did need to be fixed.
I have some fixes. That being one of them. One of them would have been to have a Grease-like ending where she fully accepts
the car into the
where
clouds.
they fly off in the car. Yes, because they made the car so well. Where she fully accepts him, and she's like, if I want to love him, I need to accept who he is.
Yeah.
And she becomes like she kind of did, where she went to the garage, puts on the jumpsuit and is like helping and stuff. So it wouldn't have been the bimbo scene. It would have been, I'm here to help. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm gonna. But then it would have been like him like selling the car or something like that, where like. He's like, you're right, I'm going to give this all up. You know what I mean?
Like
so they kind of meet in the middle.
A gift of the Magi situation?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And then, like, the ending, of course, would be like, no, we've got this car. Go and do it anyway. And they fall in love and then fly off into the sky. My second fix, which I kind of like better, is when we first meet her in the movie, like, this is legit, she comes in because there's something wrong with her car. Mm-hmm. So my fix is, we keep the car in the garage and they're trying to fix it.
That's right.
And somehow she leaves. They don't get her name. So that whole thing stays. And during this whole movie, they're fixing her car. So they're fixing it. Because in the real life, in this movie, at the very end, when they finally get the engine, they put it in the new race car and he tries to start it and he can't. Like, it is down to the last minute. They need to get to the starting line and it won't run. And in the movie, it obviously starts up and he goes. But I want in the fixes him to go, what are we going to do? We don't have a car. And she goes, yes, we do. And we pan to like the car that they've been souping up and fixing this entire time, and realizes that the car that she's been driving is the perfect race car. Because they've like, this is the race car garage, right? Like, they've been fixing race cars this whole time. So of course they're going to give like her car the most, like, you know.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
and that's how like she kind of helps save the day and everything like that. And they use her, you know, whatever to win the race.
Basically, there are so many better endings or better plot lines than what we got in this movie.
Yeah.
Is basically what it comes
I think, yeah, now that you're saying that, there are a lot of holes in the plot, and I think I was so focused on the Elvis and the chemistry between Elvis
and Margaret.
Which I think that's the point. That is the point.
Right.
Yeah, and so I was so focused on that I wasn't fully, I was like loving the music, loving the outfits. I had all these other things that were like kind of like, I had like, you know, heart eyes for, and then I kind of just blew off the whole plot holes.
Which is fine. I think in this movie it's fine, but at the same time, it really doesn't take that much extra effort to.
Right, well that's just it, is like the two fixes I had, you keep the entirety of the movie. Right. It's just at the very end, you just kind of give it that like, neatly wrapped package that we all know I love and like. So
no, I got you.
Thank you. I won that round.
You did win that round.
I boomed and fixed it.
He boomed and fixed it.
Serena, did you have anything for that?
I think that the garage scene in the sudden wedding like threw me off.
Yeah, that was it was just weird. It's like they shouldn't have done that. They should have just have him win, landed the helicopter, and had them hug.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That's all they needed.
Yep.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. Like, it was missing a scene.
Well, I think that part of the reason why like they felt compelled to have the wedding at the end is because Vegas, especially back then, was known for the shotgun weddings.
Yeah, and you know the scene where she said that to him when it was just the two of them on their little awesome. By the way, can we side note here about that awesome adventure date that they had where they did like 10 adventures? I was like, holy goals.
Okay, ready? So as it was happening, I said to Betsy, I go, oh my gosh, they're fixing my issue that I have with like love at first sight romances. They're showing their relationship over a course of several weeks of going on different dates.
No. That was all in one day.
I was like,
that was an amazing day. And I was like, what? All of that happened during one day?
Yeah, dude.
It was a commercial for Las Vegas. It was a commercial for Las Vegas is what it was.
It was the whole thing actually kind of seemed a little like whatever for the Las Vegas. Even the opening scene, I'm like, oh, okay, like they're not trying to. But I mean, that was the most epic adventure date / like series of adventure dates.
They did everything and forgot to have lunch.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, and like he met her father, right? So like count that in there, like lump that in. Yeah, no, it was pretty epic.
So definitely we keep that in the boom we fixed it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we make it a few weeks long for Tracy's sake.
Right. So thank you.
All right. Notes roundup, guys. What does everyone have?
I didn't get the exact quote, and it wasn't exactly quotable, but I liked this scene where I think it was before the she loves me, but she doesn't know it yet, or no, maybe it was after when he was a waiter. Either way, she goes, do you know how hard it is to earn money? And he's like, I just won a whole bunch. And she goes, no, not winning money, earning money.
Yeah.
And she had this whole like, and I was just like, she's very grounded. I like that whole thing where he was such a dreamer and he just thought of money as something to, you know, throw away towards your dreams, which there can be something to be said about that. But she's like, I work hard for my money. I know what it's like to. She does. When I like that scene.
Yeah, that was a good. The whole pool interaction. The whole bit was really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
The way you put it is perfect. Like grounded versus dreaming, earned versus one. Like you find that in couples today where you have like the grounded couple, the grounded partner who is really good with the finances, and you have the other one that's like, if they were in charge of the money, then the mortgage would have, obviously you guys, this takes place in Vegas, right? Gambling is an issue, and they do kind of address it in here as well. Like you notice that gazebo scene, that little clip there where she was like, every penny you get, you were gonna gamble it to try and spin and get that engine.
Yep.
And he's all like, geeked out on his bet of whatever, and she's like, okay, but like, would you actually quit for me or anybody? Like, it doesn't seem like it would.
I'm glad you just said that, because that scene, first off, it reminded me of the Somewhere That's Green from Little Shop of Horrors.
Yes.
Where I don't think she goes into song, but she has this whole moment of, you're right, all of the pennies that you get are going to go towards that engine. And she's like, they basically have a where do you see yourself in the future type conversation. And she's like, I see myself with a house and a white picket fence and several trees. And of course, I think that leads to one of the cutest scenes ever, where instead of him sending her flowers or candy or something, he buys her a tree.
It is really adorable.
Which I think it turned her around. She was like, I don't want to talk to him again. We broke up, blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, oh my God, I'm in love. She immediately switches.
Yeah.
And you know what? I would have too. I have a couple more just random notes, but does anybody else want to go first?
Say your notes.
I want to talk a minute about his random ride or die buddy. Who
yes. What was his name?
Is it Shorty?
Shorty. Yeah.
And they give him no backstory. All we know is that he's Elvis's. We've been calling him Elvis the whole time. What's the character's name? She's Rusty.
Jackson. Lucky Jackson.
Lucky. So Shorty is Lucky's mechanic, but he goes above and beyond. It's like he's almost his like servant.
Yes,
ridiculous.
Well, you called him his ride or die, and he really is. He is all about it.
Yeah, no, that was, and I actually have one of his quotes because it was the scene when he has Lucky replace the waiter for the dinner, and he just walks up to the guy and goes, "Hey, Frankie, can you be bought?" It was just a very like quick joke, but he just
right to the point. Yep,
pulled it off so well. It was just such a great line.
Yeah,
those are all my notable notes.
So again, when you had sent us the link that this is the movie that we would be watching, Viva Las Vegas, and everybody knows that term, right? Viva Las Vegas. And I had asked Betsy, I go, do you know, is Viva Las Vegas, is it named that? Is it the movie named that because that's a saying, or is it a saying because that's the movie?
Mm-hmm.
And basically the movie is named
what came
because...
first, the chicken or the egg?
Exactly. And the movie is named after the song Viva Las Vegas. But the song was written not by Elvis, by somebody else for this movie. And so this is where the expression comes from, is from this movie, Viva Las Vegas. That's why you hear the song everywhere. That's people have taken it and it's now become the mantra. And my last thing is, Betsy, you told this to me. So
can I say it then?
Yes, please go.
You said, I thought you were going to go with the sour apple comment. Go ahead.
The sour apple. No, go with that, because I don't know what you're talking about.
What's the sour apple? So I mean, honestly, I was looking at my phone and the computer a lot while watching this movie, because why not? So I was looking up Elvis, and apparently, I was looking at his awards area in IMDb, and it said that he won the sour apple, something called the sour apple, for 2 years, 1960 and 1966. And I'm like, what on earth is sour apple? Because that sounds phenomenal. And it was a Women's Presley Club would do an award every year. And it was not based on performance, but based on behavior. So they had a Golden Apple Award, which was the best actor or actress or the most well-behaved. And then they had the Sour Apple, which was the worst behaved actor or actress. And Elvis won that twice. So apparently...
So Sour Apple Award was worst behavior?
Yes.
Yep.
So apparently he was difficult to work with, is the moral of that story.
You know who I bet won that? Gene Kelly.
Yeah. He probably won the sour apple. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, I wouldn't have recognized this, but Anne Margaret is Meta from the Newsies, the 90s Newsies.
Yep. You gotta bring it back to millennial knowledge.
Yeah, well, it is. I mean, everybody knows the Swedish meadowlark, right?
Yes.
Miss Meta, who all the boys, she works at it, which is kind of funny because she's kind of a showgirl in that, a burlesque dancer. And what I thought was funny is the song that she sings during the singing competition, because it was a talent competition, because obviously there was a talent competition in here during a car race movie.
Of course.
She sings a song that's basically like what I can get from guys who are trying to woo me, which is the song that Meta from the Broadway Newsies sings. Is the song of like, all these guys are fawning over me and giving me things, which I think is just so meta. It's so meta.
Wow.
I didn't even mean that. I know. Pun not intended.
It's funny you say that, because that scene actually in Viva Las Vegas, that scene actually reminded me of when Adelaide, one of Adelaide's song in Guys and Dolls. She has Take Back Your Mink. That's the name of it.
Yeah. Yeah, those are just my little tidbits that I thought was, interesting.
Those are good tidbits. The Martini Shot.
Clink.
Would you recommend this movie?
I'm saying yes.
I'm saying yes too.
I'm saying yes as well.
Yeah.
It's not a deep movie. It is pure fun.
Yep.
It's just
pure fun. Peak 60s quintessential Elvis.
Yes. Done.
Thanks for joining us. If you like what you hear, you can find more great episodes over on our website, www.millennialsatthemoviehouse.com, or wherever you find your podcasts. Curious about updates, extras from our episodes, or want to add your 2 cents about a reviewed movie? We're also on Twitter and Instagram. Our handle for both is @themoviemillies. Check us out and make sure to follow us. So until next time,
we're millennials.
And we'll see you at the movie house.
Viva!
Las Vegas!
Thank you. Thank you very much.